Hi, it's Stephen here from Son of an Ocean Wave, and this is day 10 of the February daily draws. So let's see what message we get today. And I'll be taking the first card from the Gilded Tarot Royale, followed by an oracle card from the Seasons of the Witch Imbolc Oracle. So let's choose our first card and get the reading underway. Okay, here we go. So we have another 8, one that we've had already, which is the 8 of Swords. This is what we had the other couple of days ago, a few days ago. As I say, the 8 seem to be coming up, and the reason that this card has perhaps reappeared is probably because we still need to think about those limiting thoughts. You know, it's not something that we necessarily just, when we first get the card and we think about what limiting thoughts we need to deal with, and then it's done with, because these thoughts may have been long-standing and it may be a process, and we need to be ever aware, not to be obsessed with them, because if you become a little bit too focused on, oh, what are my limiting thoughts? What are my limiting thoughts? We're actually getting too focused on limiting thoughts, and that energy is actually limiting in itself. No, I think what this card is reminding us of is that it's more we need to start to believe more in our ability to be free of limiting thoughts than the nature of the limiting thoughts themselves. Don't misunderstand. We may need to address specific limiting thoughts, so we may need to tackle them at the right time with, identifying what kind of thought or idea or whatever that is restricting our moving forward. But it's more from a point of view of being free from it. And if we can gear up our confidence and belief in ourselves and our ability to be free of them, that brings in the positive energy of being free into the situation, and self-belief as well. And the more that we bring self-belief into the situation, the weaker those limiting thoughts will start to become, because we're shifting into the belief that we can be free of them. And that in itself, that belief, weakens those limiting beliefs, because those limiting beliefs are built on the premise that they're insurmountable, that we can't get beyond them. That's why they're limiting. Once we start to change that thinking into, no, I can overcome them, that starts to weaken them, because the main premise on which they're built begins to be undermined and weakened, and then they become easier. And it may not, as I say, it's not going to be necessarily a once and for all sort of process. We may need to check in with ourselves to stop them creeping back in. We need to maintain that self-belief that we can overcome. See, the Eight of Swords is a card that is all about the appearances of insurmountable restriction, and things that prevent us from moving forward, that limit us, and the it's the appearance of, not the truth of, but the appearance of, that they're impossible to get past. But on closer inspection, we see that they're not impossible to get past. And once we start to believe that, then the very nature that's held them in place begins to weaken, and they begin to fall away, and they were replaced by more positive thought patterns and ideas that will spur us forward and free us and take us beyond those limitations. So I feel that what this card has reappeared to remind us is, work on your self-belief. Believe in yourself more. Maybe we've not fully taken on board the message from the last time. Maybe we sort of acknowledge, yeah, I do have limiting beliefs and I need to work on them. But maybe, as I say, when we said that, we acknowledged we have limiting beliefs, but did we tackle the underlying problem of not believing that we can overcome them? There's the key, and maybe that's what we missed when this came out before. So maybe what he's coming to say is, yes, you acknowledge you have those limiting beliefs, but you then have to start realizing and believing that they can be overcome. They're not insurmountable. And that's the key start to breaking free out of these things that sort of hem us in and stop us from freely moving forward in whatever we want to do and who we want to be. So the throwing off of these limiting thoughts and thought patterns and behaviors in the way we talk to others and the way we talk about ourselves as well, you know, the way we describe ourselves and our situation, we need to switch it up into more of a self-belief and a confidence-based foundation to whatever it is we do and say, and how we begin to think and have that belief in ourselves. The more we think about the limiting beliefs, it just reinforces those limiting beliefs. But when we focus on the issues of self-belief, confidence, and the ability to overcome, that weakens them anyway. And we start to see the illusory appearance of them, that they're not as strong and insurmountable as they first appear. And that is the message of the Eight of Swords. So let's see which oracle card comes back to adds to the message of the Eight of Swords coming back. Incense. We have incense. Allow the smoke to reveal the truth, clearing the haze while lifting the fog. Sometimes incense is used to cleanse by and to, you know, they usually have a fragrance, a certain, to fill the air and to cleanse the air of negative energies. That's the idea of it. And it's supposed to clear the way for clearer energy and more positive energy, clearing the haze, lifting the fog. And at the moment, when we're surrounded by these limiting thoughts and ideas, it seems like we can't see a way forward. It's like being surrounded by fog. We can't see. I mean, you know, there is a little bit of a mist around her here. And it's like we can't see the way forward because of the mist and fog. But once we bring something else in, like the fragrant incense to clear the way, and that is what, to me, is bringing in that self-belief, that belief into our ability to overcome, bringing in self-confidence. That's the kind of fragrant incense coming into the situation and will help to lift that fog and bringing a clearer air, and dispel the mist so that we can see more clearly and understand the true nature of what we're dealing with, to reveal the truth, as it says here. So bringing these things in and focusing in, bringing all the positive energy of self-belief, confidence, ability to overcome, is clearing the way for a better understanding, a truer understanding, and that will give us the power and the strength to overcome the things we need to overcome. Okay, so that is today's message. I'll be back tomorrow with day 11. Until then, thank you for listening. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you all again very soon. Okay, bye-bye.